I was introduced to him by the Lady Rothschild, and she asked me to meet him because he was a major contributor at Harvard.
Yeah, one of the things that I find very intriguing is that Jeffrey Epstein appeared to know all sorts of things about me that were not public and seemed to require almost a periscope into my life, in particular scientific things about me that probably flowed through the Harvard department that I was from which I took my PhD. I don't think that you're grasping how strong the circumstantial case is that this person was somehow attached to intelligence and may have benefited from things like state secret privilege and other forms of exotica in the law.
I was so young. Ghislaine woke me up in the morning and said, "You're going to meet a prince today." I didn't know at that point that I was going to be trafficked to that prince.
Ghislaine must die in prison because I've been in hell and back for the last 17 years.
And 27 for me.
I was 10 years old when Liz Stein was being trafficked. I was 10.
Epstein was transfixed with transhumanism and life extension technologies. Epstein's sprawling ranch in New Mexico, which was pedantically maintained by staff yet rarely used or visited by Epstein himself, appeared to have one main bizarre function: to serve as a baby-making facility where Epstein would attempt to help foster his dream of, quote, seeding the human race with his DNA by impregnating women. According to the New York Times, Mr. Epstein told scientists and businessmen about his ambitions to use his New Mexico ranch as a base where women would be inseminated with his sperm and would give birth to his babies. Epstein's goal was to have 20 women impregnated at a time at the 33,000 square foot ranch. This is why, since the early 2000s, Epstein became obsessed with ingratiating himself with the technological and scientific elite.
Dulce, New Mexico is 170 kilometers from the Four Corners, an area known for the skinwalkers, who the Hopi tribe describe as a non-human species that live underground. Dulce is 260 kilometers from Scientology's heavily guarded underground Trementina base. And Dulce is 200 kilometers from Jeffrey Epstein's Zorro Ranch, which is known to have an 8,000 square foot underground level and is rumored to lead even deeper underground. According to several prominent scientists who Jeffrey Epstein had as guests, Epstein hoped to seed the human race after a cataclysm by impregnating 20 women at a time at the Zorro Ranch. According to Bajorkness, the Kabbalistic teachings include a geocentric model of the Earth with an underworld that extends 7 levels beneath the surface, where a reptilian species lives. These legends foretell a cleansing of the Earth when everyone on the surface will perish, and only those in the underworld will survive. High-level Freemasons allegedly believe in a hollow Earth, where a non-human species rule from an underworld called Agartha, and their most guarded secrets seem to revolve around a cyclical cataclysmic event. Phil Schneider also built submarine bases and said that most were connected to the vast network of deep underground bases. Ghislaine Maxwell had a submarine license and was known to transport people to Epstein Island through an underwater submarine port. The U.S. military built a submarine base on St. Thomas Island, which is just 13 kilometers from Epstein Island. And right next to this submarine base is Water Island, owned by Joe Biden's brother and their business associate. In a recent interview on Iconic, Juliette Bryant, who was kidnapped by Jeffrey Epstein for 2 years, but she did wake up once paralyzed on a lab table and witnessed Epstein shapeshift into something else.
And I still want to know why exactly I was taken there, because there's a lot more weird stuff going on, because there's something else that they were doing.
Pursuit of life extension and this bizarre baby harvesting program connect with Epstein's sordid sex parties and his trafficking of minors. And bear with me here, because this is where it gets well freaky. Several ancient powerful cults believed that engaging in occult tantric sex magic rituals could extend their lives by decades. One of these cults, the cult of Iana, is reportedly still still active in the United States and Europe today. This is all explained in a rare book called Cult and Occult. The book explains how rulers down the centuries believed that sexual contact with minors would re-energize their bodies and extend their lives. This book is actually part of the Stanley Kubrick archives, because Kubrick used it as a primary research source for his movie Eyes Wide Shut, which of course centered around a shadowy elitist cabal based out of New York City that routinely engaged in, well, let's say Epstein-like shenanigans. Gee, I wonder who Kubrick was trying to warn us about.
Who do you think those people were? Those were not just ordinary people there. If I told you their names, I'm not going to tell you their names, but if I did, I don't think you'd sleep so well.
As is depicted in the film, the sex magic rituals performed by Epstein and his co-conspirators weren't just about fulfilling their perverted sexual fantasies. They were also part of the occult belief that absorbing psychosexual energy from victims would actually make them live longer. Bizarre beyond belief. I know how crazy it sounds. But the life extension angle with Epstein was literally reported by the New York Times. No one's talking about any of that though. No one's talking about the missing blackmail material from Epstein's mansion. Everyone's still being distracted by complete nothing burgers like Prince Andrew and Stephen Hawking. Questions also continue to swirl over the weirder proclivities of what Epstein and his elite cohorts were really up to. We know that Epstein was obsessed with trying to groom the tech elite. His infamous dinners with Bill Gates.
What did you know about him when you were meeting with him?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that.
He also tried to cozy up to Elon Musk, inviting him to his mansion, but Musk immediately got the heebie-jeebies and decided to steer well clear.
Stem cell technology that Peter and I are investing in is called SCNT, which takes the egg of a young, perfect woman specimen, takes the egg and takes out the nucleus and puts our DNA in the nucleus. They just go and take it out.
It's painful,
Huh? And this is part of this genetic greatness that we don't see in any other race on the planet. These curvy, sexy black women from Africa. You girls have a kind of a monopoly on this genetic perfection, and we want some of that. So, girls, for $100, we will pay you for your egg.
$100? Monkey.
So how much do you want for it? Let's bid. I bid $500. You know, I'm prepared to outbid him. Whoever I bid, he's going to outbid me. I bought about $60,000 of the eggs. Yeah. If you have abortion, that's very valuable. Umbilical cord, and a placenta. Even your period blood is so rich with stem cells. When you regard it as waste, then it actually should be. It should be captured as recycled, and it shouldn't go to waste. It's life for somebody, and it's life for mankind. Where the best eggs are 60 to 18 years old. Those are the best eggs. As you get older, your eggs get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So you may not be our top candidate.
No, that's fine. I'm down with my business anyway.
Cloning yourself with the idea of making yourself immortal, I think, is science fiction, and I think it's unethical.
They've already tested this practice in mice, and mouse was fat, and mouse got six-pack, and it was jumping all over women. Young, right? At first it's just everybody's safe, and after that.
Where are the 500,000 to 1 million unaccompanied alien children? Where in the hell are these kids? And one place I have been told that we need to start looking, and it made perfect sense and I didn't even think of it. A lot of people are saying, you need to start looking underground. I'm like, what do you mean underground? Well, JG, there's whole tunnels, underground tunnels. There's underground spaces, living places. Where do you hide children? You have to hide them out of sight.
I first
Don't keep all the good stuff to yourself.
I was